Welcome back, everyone. It's now time for our next speaker. This will be Peter Demopoulos from WIMU. WIMU makes one of the most accurate trackers for performance and athlete measurements. I would like to give the word to Peter. And again, if there are questions, put them in the chat and we'll get back to them later on.
Very warm welcome from Almeria. As was mentioned, my name is Peter Demopoulos. I'm a sports scientist and I work with WIMU. WIMU is an EPTS tracking provider. So we have a wearable, as we can see here on our screen, that I intend today to show the architecture behind the system, as in what is WIMU today, in addition to the DNA of the company and the ways that the system can answer or assist complicated performance questions, return to play questions, or monitoring over prolonged periods of times during seasons, microcycles, and even congested competition periods, for example. Here, what we like to share is that in this slide, hopefully the message that we want to portray is that the user is in the driver's seat, meaning that the system can adapt to the user's applications, needs for chosen collective team sport, individual sport, or research necessities. And it's a validated device also by FIFA and by World Rugby, so the same blue device. And also, as a company, we carry out all the research and development internally, both for the hardware and the software. So that what that means is that any client's idea or feedback for an additional feature, be it user interface, be it a new metric, can always be accommodated in our ecosystem. So here is the title of the actual presentation, Athlete Performance Monitoring through EPTS Technology. So what we hope to achieve today is explore various scenarios where the technology can be applied. But before that, I would just like to put some context of the company and the system, as in what are the components of the WIMU system and how do these function together. Here we have our docking station, for example, that can house up to 28 tracking devices, 28 WIMU devices. However, it's always up to the end user client to decide on that quantity. And I will explore that a little later with the functionalities of the smart station, where you can change rosters, you can change the actual profile of the device through the smart touchscreen that you see there embedded on the actual smart station. We also have a clicker, which allows any individual to mark the data, make virtual marks on the data. So every time I press the clicker, that will then translate into a mark on the data. I do apologize. There we go. And we also have, for example, an access point, which allows you to actually review the data in real time through our software during a specific application, be it a gym test, be it a functionality of the WIMU as an encoder, for example. And in addition, we have Vivo, which is our live tracking software, which of course I will get into greater detail as we progress. Vivo is also available in a smartwatch, which we will also get to see a little later. And as the WIMU system is fully hybrid, meaning both LTS and GPS, WIMU has designed and provides also WIMU anchors for fixed antenna installations. And to our right, I would like to draw your attention to the software availability that we offer is Vivo for live tracking, Pro, which is for our post-session or post-match analysis software, and lastly, the data from Pro is uploaded to the WIMU cloud, where our clients, our partners, our end users are able to generate customized reports. And of course, I will get to that as we progress. The system, we would like to explore certain themes today with all of you that mainly cover the versatility of the device, meaning the multiple applications you can achieve with our system. The fact that also WIMU promotes data storytelling primarily through dashboards and analysis. And another theme that's very close to our hearts as a company, but also as a department, as I'm a member of the sports science department, is our commitment to lifelong learning through our online courses, which of course I will spend a few moments towards the end of the presentation. The device itself, as we can see, it's very important and fundamental for the company that any offering in the hardware element of the system is validated. So here, as we can see, the device itself, the WIMU Pro device on your screen, the blue device here, is fully validated both by FIFA and by World Rugby. And what this means is that any individual can use the system during any official friendly match, training session, or official game, either through FIFA mandated, say, matches or through World Rugby matches. Further to that, what this also carries with the validation is the FIFA quality, meaning this alludes to the highest accuracy for positional and speed data, both for GPS and LPS. Furthermore, another thing that we also feel is gaining additional traction with our clients is the fact that it's a multiplayer device or multiplayer system and multi-sport system. This translates into the following. If we have a roster of, say, 30 athletes and they do not train at the same time, there is no issue whatsoever then to share, for example, 15 devices, and each athlete or the roster can share one device. So you can easily assign the device to multiple users by actually inputting the name of the athlete on the OLED screen provided here, as we can see. Multi-sport, of course, WIMU is potentially known for its presence in soccer and football, that is. However, WIMU has application over a variety of sports, both team sports and individual sports. And before I get to that in greater detail, I would also like to spend some time in discussing the architecture of the system. For example, what is under the hood in this case? As we can see, the device is fully hybrid, so that's both GPS and ultra-wideband embedded in the same device, so it can generate data via GPS satellites or LPS antenna installations. The inertial sensors, as we can see here, WIMU is unique in the fact that it contains or it includes 4 accelerometers at distinct G-force thresholds and 3 gyroscopes at distinct degrees per second, and they can both sample up to 1,000 hertz or 1,000 data points per second. And with this decision of the company, we are able to always provide the true magnitude of the athlete's impact that they experience or generate, or their angular speed, as we can see in the case of the gyroscopes. The connectivity is also very interesting for the company and for the product. And now, of course, I will get to spend more time in exploring those themes of the connectivity of the device as we progress. Of course, all this is made possible due to the architecture, namely with our Intel internal processor. And in addition, we can store close to 2 months of data in a team sports setting or a setting where we're training every day and competing once a week. That will translate into roughly 2 months of data stored on your device. Case in point, the WIMU, as we can see here, is, for example, center stage. In what sense? The WIMU can work as a hub of other sensors. So some key examples here. The WIMU device can interface with Garmin, so for heart rate sensor, or even through Polar. We are compatible with both. And this is made possible through the ANT+ connectivity that's both embedded in the Garmin sensor and the WIMU Pro device. Furthermore, should the application of the device include skin temperature or core temperature, there is the core temperature sensor that is manufactured. It's a brand from France. And in this case, what we have achieved as a company is integrated the skin temperature and core temperature emitted by this device in the WIMU Pro software. So you will have this data both live in our software and also post in our software via the device and S Pro. Furthermore, should the application of the device require a measurement of SmO2, or oxygen saturation of the muscle, or hemoglobin, all we need is to fix the MOXIE sensor on our athlete, or in the muscle group or in the area that we wish to monitor. We just connect the device, and again, via, as we can see here, ANT+, we are able to communicate with both hemoglobin, SmO2, and also core and skin temperature. And lastly today, should the application of the WIMU device also require electromyography, we can fit the MyonTech shorts called Embody on our athlete, and hence, as we have seen prior, we will also receive the EMG data synchronized in our system. So what is common for all these sensors, WIMU has integrated them in our system. So WIMU will do all the heavy lifting, for example. Furthermore, ANT plus communication. In order for us to provide live tracking, we have opted that our beacon or our antenna takes the shape of this USB antenna. What this means is by simply connecting this ANT plus antenna to the tablet or laptop, you will then interface and see the devices moving in real time on your screen. And I will get to show you that as we progress. The smart station I alluded to just a few moments ago. In greater detail, the actual touch screen here allows us to change profiles of WIMUs, reassign them. For example, let's say the WIMU up here is Rick's in the morning, and then I can very well use the same WIMU and just have my name assigned on it. So in the morning it's Rick, and in the afternoon it's Peter, and so on and so forth. And that way, aside from downloading the data, charging the devices, traveling with the devices, you can also freely change the roster or the user as many times as you wish during the course of the day. Multiplayer, multisport. I wanted to circle back to this theme in order to underline the importance of WIMU, of the WIMU's decision, choice, to provide a system that has truly multi-sport applications. So not only soccer, but as we can see, we're also entering paddle, and we are present with handball, with rugby, with kayak. And hopefully, another message that we want to also share is that research is at the focal point for the company. In this case, the device is validated through studies that are generated by the academic institutions that have chosen to invest in the system. And of course, this is then relayed to our clients or our wider client base of the validation of the various features of our system, which I will show you very, very soon. Being a fully hybrid system, we wanted to also paint a picture to our audience today. So what does that mean? We just saw the constellation of the satellites, and now we see a fixed antenna installation around a training facility, a basketball court, an indoor or an outdoor installation, as we can see here. So in essence, the WIMU is hybrid ready, meaning by simply selecting the hybrid profile, the device can connect both to the constellation of satellites and to the antennas where the device is actually situated in. The video camera to the right, we will also spend some time to explore that feature. This alludes to the fact that you can synchronize any video format in our ecosystem. So you can have a video analysis, kinematic analysis of your performance in our software. And I will show you that in a few moments. Shifting now to our software, as we can see here, this software, the three options here are used to, as we can see, primarily for decision making. So the WIMU Cloud, where an individual can generate the insights that they are required for the application that they are using. Vivo is a format of real-time data, so to provide potentially data-informed decisions in real time, pitch side, court side, during any match or during any training session. And lastly, S-Pro, what the application here is for an individual, an end user, to make those detailed selections within the session or run potentially more complex queries in the system, meaning combining metrics or writing their own, for example, function and applying it to the actual data. The monitors, as we will see in the presentation later, are also applications or algorithms that are designed to answer those specific performance questions. For S-Pro now, as we can see here, the key themes we'd like to explore today are on our slide today. And in addition, for example, to the metrics that are generated by WIMU, we can also achieve video analysis. So here we go. I will press play, and hopefully the image is smooth on your screens. We are seeing an American football match game being monitored by WIMU, and this device is worn by the athlete that just got tackled in the orange helmet. So this is the speed signal. This is the accelerometer signal of the device. And we are seeing now, as we can see, the full synchronization of the data with the tactical or the video analysis. To the left, we have our tactical analysis. We have chosen key players, positional and measured distance, area. In this case, it's Voronoi mapping. And perhaps we have also seen that there is a device in the center. So this is the attitude channel of the device, 3D. And with the aerial angles, we are able to provide the athlete's orientation and inclination with reference to the Earth at any given moment in time during a session or a game. Raw data, we feel not only a theme welcomed by, for example, primarily academic institution application, how clients are also applying this option to their day-to-day workflow. So aside from uploading data to the WIMU cloud and generating reports, they are also extracting the raw data in order to run their own queries. And I will get to that as we progress in the presentation. The monitors, something that I got to touch upon a few moments ago. So think of monitors as applications or algorithms that are designed to quantify a specific movement, or perhaps even a specific, let's say, sport movement. We can see here that aside from measuring distances, speeds, accelerations, decelerations, sprints, for example, the device can also function as an encoder, and it's validated to do so. We just fit the device on the horizontal bar, and the athlete's movement will then be quantified by the device. We can also quantify steps. So in addition to step balance, we can also achieve a highly sophisticated gait analysis of your athlete's performance. Furthermore, dives, in this case, the same blue device is able to measure the athlete's, in this case, the goalkeeper's movement, as in every time they commit a dive to the right, to the left, in addition to how long it takes them to return to their initial position. Furthermore, worst case scenario or maximum effort scenario. Any individual can apply this monitor to the dataset, and S-Pro will automatically generate all said worst case scenarios of the athlete for the metrics that the end user wishes to explore. So everything is available with a press of a button. In addition, if we want to carry out a hamstring test, an SLR, right? A range of motion test. If we'd like to conduct a balance test, a free jump, a counter movement jump test, even directional changes with the addition of centripetal force, this is all made possible with the same blue device that is here on our screen. So the WIMU is able to bring the gym to the pitch, to the court in certain instances, but also the device is able to follow the athlete in their various competition or preparatory installations or facilities. Now, shifting, we'd like to also show you SVivo. So SVivo is our live tracking software, which in addition to interfacing with third-party sensors, as we can see here on our slide, it's also able to provide a tactical analysis of your athletes in real time, I repeat, in addition to displaying over 30 metrics in the ecosystem. Here, a few examples, as we can see. So the themes here are, again, live data. So I can generate, for example, the movement of the WIMUs can interface on the pitch that I generate with the true coordinates, right? I can generate a heat map, as we can see on our video, or a collective heat map for the team as a whole. I can create drills prior to the session or during the session, and that's aimed to save me time when the data is in S-Pro for that analysis. And of course, what we are seeing is that the tactical analysis is also finding its way in the coaches, let's say, ecosystem of performance during a match, where there are coaches now that will rely on SVivo and the tactical analysis to make certain decisions during the duration of a match. Furthermore, SVivo is also available in our smartwatch. So in this case, we have a Garmin watch, and we also are designing to make it available for other providers or other, for example, ecosystems. And what this does here is we simply download the SVivo app for the watch, the Garmin watch, as we can see in this case, and an array of metrics of SVivo are available simply by having the athlete wear the device. They can interface or display up to 6 variables at a time, but there's a total of over 15 metrics in total, with heart rate, and as you can see here, distances, high metabolic load distance also available. Further to that, WIMU has devoted extensive resources, both over time and over through our efforts of our colleagues, to generate a new feature in the WIMU cloud. So in this case, what we like to offer our clients is the ability to generate their customized reports, and in order to be able to display what they want through customized widgets, right? So this theme of data storytelling is something central to what we like to offer and as part of features of the company. Here, what we have seen and what we are now aware of is that our clients are able to clearly share the data very quickly across the performance staff or with their players directly. These are dynamic reports, so as soon as an end user uploads the data from the S-Pro to the cloud, what that will do then is then populate the said dashboards to have always the latest session information. Suffice to say, there are WIMU clients that, or there is a WIMU team, for example, that uses our system that has over 70 dashboards. So that's just a testament to the options available in the system and the various needs of our clients. Case in point, we can see that the ability of the WIMU cloud and the dashboards to generate information for, as we can see here, the distinct interest groups or entities within the broader definition of a performance staff within a team or within a club. And as we can see here, it can span from our rehabilitation, for example, of a physiotherapist, what data they need to explore the performance of the athlete or the level of the athlete's performance, in addition to the fitness coach, even the data analyst, the coach, and also the goalkeeper trainer, as we saw a few moments earlier with the dedicated goalkeeper monitor report. Furthermore, a theme that we wanted to explore with all of you today is what we are seeing also is the importance of not only maintaining performance and trying to reduce the potential incidence of injury, we can also use the system for return to play scenarios. So I wanted to share a dashboard. As you can see here, this is demo data from our own WIMU team, but the structure is what I wanted to share with you in order for our audience to get an idea of the applications and options available, again, by the blue device that we saw just moments earlier. So here, what we are looking at is the actual steps analysis in a return to play scenario. So the data can span from contact time to flight time to step time, and also to vertical stiffness if we wish to also generate that, because the key message here is the end user can generate a dashboard with the metrics that they prefer. Furthermore, as we can see here, of course, WIMU is conscious of the fact that there are many clients of WIMU that have a large amount of data input. So this means that there is data being populated from various sources, be it wellness or be it certain scans or certain diagnostic tests or certain blood tests, for example. And therefore, clubs choose to have this under one centralized ecosystem, primarily through an AMS software, right? So here, as we can see, what happens in WIMU is the following. I will walk you through. We have our device. We have then our SVivo, so we're looking at the data live from the WIMU device. After the session or after the match, the device is uploaded into S-Pro. We analyze the data, we prepare the report, we upload it to the cloud, and from that point onwards, the data will be populated to an AMS software, think Kinduck, for example, to the end user's ecosystem, meaning the data from the WIMU cloud will go directly to the club's endpoint, be it an AMS software or any other ecosystem that they may be using, in addition to the ability to also use the data to apply it in other programming languages by simply extracting it in Excel format and CSV format, the raw data, or the reports themselves. So of course, what WIMU wants to share is that we try to adapt to our clients and not vice versa. Furthermore, as we can see here, what does a dashboard look like? Just some key themes. There are filters for a session, for a date, for a position, and for a player. And based on our selections there, the actual report will then just display said player, said position, or said session. Furthermore, WIMU is probably well positioned, as we have probably seen in our presentation. Hopefully it's the clear messages have been made, that WIMU has a strong presence in both team and individual sports, and also in the academic ecosystem. Further to that, WIMU is engaged in multiple innovation projects, and Rick mentioned one of them at the beginning of the introduction, and we thank you for that. In addition, as we can see here, we are involved with the sport arm of Microsoft, with La Liga, where WIMU provides data to all first and second division teams in La Liga, and we provide a report based on the optical tracking output of the tracking provider of La Liga. So we convert optical tracking data to WIMU data in this case. And our data is provided in the La Liga WIMU cloud in order to give both clients and non-clients the opportunity to have a physical fitness performance report available after the match, something that was not available up to 2 years ago when La Liga reached out to WIMU to provide said information. Furthermore, we are founders of the Barça Innovation Hub also. We are founding members of the Barça Innovation Hub. And as you can see here, we are also involved in communication projects with Movistar, and we also work in the Center of Innovation, for example, in Mexico. Furthermore, in the next slide, a theme that I touched upon a little earlier, but I just wanted to reiterate the importance that WIMU places in R&D, research development, and I'm sure it's something that all of the audience, or I would say the majority of the audience, but I'm sure our presenters, and of course Movella and Rick, can appreciate, as in research and development is the pillar, the driving force for innovation in WIMU's case. And here, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to share with you is that all research and development efforts, projects, either internal, that as in are started internally, or are a collaboration with a partner, meaning a client, these are all carried out by WIMU. And as we can see here, there on many instances, on many occasions, said research and development projects are delivered by multiple departments within the company. So WIMU has the collective experience for the conception of an R&D project, the testing of an R&D project, and finally delivering the final version of that project in the form of a new metric or a new user interface, for example. And there are numerous variables that we saw perhaps in the monitors and the slide, if we recall, that were a result of just this very message that we want to show with you today. An idea, then being tested, being generated, and finally, what once was an idea is now a feature in the system. Of course, a theme that's also very close to our heart is lifelong learning. So WIMU has an online course, and it's available through wimuacademy.com. And this is for any future potential user, but also for our current users, where we can learn a little more about EPTS technology and also receive a certificate by WIMU. Furthermore, as we can see here, as I sort of come to an end to the presentation today, and of course, I want to thank you once again for your time and patience. We'd also like to look back at some key themes that we discussed to try to tie everything together. So here, as we can see, what we have seen and the reasons behind WIMU being invested in by our client base is primarily the first hybrid system in the market, meaning the first device to be fully hybrid, so GPS and LPS technology simultaneously. The precision alludes to the fact that we are validated by FIFA, and we have been present in all the validation studies, all the validation tests, I apologize, since the inception of this test by FIFA, this initiative. And of course, the versatility alludes to the fact that you can apply the WIMU in various testing scenarios, be on the pitch, on the court, on the grass, on the clay, and also use the WIMU in the gym, as we saw a little earlier. Furthermore, the device itself has the certifications that we mentioned, but also a theme that we find is also well accepted by our clients is the fact that number 6, for example, and number 7, the software is free, there's no licensing cost, and our end users can always benefit from having the latest version, as in number 8, for both S Pro and S Vivo. Further to that, WIMU as a company, as we can see here, and we touched upon a little earlier, reinvests in innovation every year in order to ensure we can drive our projects, and it's also a direct result of everything we have achieved that I shared with you moments earlier. Further to that, the company itself has over 10 years of experience in the high-performance sport ecosystem, and service, so number 15, support. This is, again, something we hold very close to our hearts as a company, but also as a sports science department. And what this means is that all the WIMU clients are assigned to a sports scientist, myself or my colleagues that are both in Almeria, but also in Mexico, where they support all the Mexican football teams. And in this case, every client is aware that there is a sports scientist at the other end of a call, or email, a Zoom, a Teams meeting to, let's say, resolve any training queries, any features that queries that they might have, but also support in any shape or form that our clients need. So for us, support, I repeat, is fundamental to what we offer in the WIMU ecosystem. And on that note, I would like to thank everybody for your time and attention during your busy days. And I would like to wish that you enjoy the rest of the conference also. Thank you very, very much. And back to you, Rick, and anything that you'd like to explore further from the presentation, more than happy to discuss it together.
It was really nice and a clear story. There were a few questions though. The first one, do you have sort of an overview of all the metrics that WIMU collects?
Great question. There are currently over 250 metrics. So broadly speaking, intensity metrics. So that can be speeds within certain zones, sprints, high-speed running. In addition, there are volume metrics. So think distance, distance per minute, for again, circling back to intensity or tempo. Load metrics that can span from player load to dynamic stress load to high metabolic load distance to metabolic power. Further to that, quantification of jumps, landings, and also acceleration. So accelerations can be as detailed as an end user would like, meaning we quantify every acceleration and deceleration with the corresponding start speed, end speed, peak acceleration within that action, and also distance covered. Further to that, if I have a few more seconds, we also provide speed acceleration profiles of our athletes. So as is generated in the published research, WIMU, with a press of a button, can generate your speed acceleration profile of your athlete based on their performance in a drill, if you'd like to focus on that, or a season or a session, completely up to you. Further to that, we are also able to generate the worst case scenario metrics that I mentioned earlier. In this case, any metric that the client wants to explore can then be generated, meaning what was my worst case scenario of acceleration, of speed, of distance, of heart rate. And mentioning heart rate, as a company, we also provide a heart rate variability report with all the pertaining metrics to generate heart rate variability. So not only heart rate, range, min, max, but also heart rate variability metrics, both in S Pro, but also in the cloud. And I would say in a broad sense, that would cover the metrics, but always happy to go into further detail if that hasn't answered the question.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Peter, for that clear answer. And I can imagine it's a little bit difficult to explain everything in wording, but I'll make sure that anybody who reaches out to us gets in touch with you as well. Second question, do you have a portable solution for LPS?
Oh, great question. So the company also provides a portable LPS solution, and primarily we have seen that this has application in indoor sports, where in the context that said indoor sports are perhaps traveling frequently or maybe not training in the same facility. So basketball teams primarily invest in our portable system because they'd like to travel with the system. So whenever they are training, they want to have that data, because when you're training indoor, GPS signal is near impossible to have. So LPS technology will answer that question. And we also have seen that as a company and as use cases, numerous academic institutions, both in Spain and abroad, have invested in a portable antenna solution. And in this case, what it allows these academic institutions to do is to carry out the data collection or the data analysis either on campus, on their own campus or in their own facilities, or in many instances, travel to the facility where this data collection will take place. And of course, as we can see, this facilitates the further growing the relationships that the academic institutions have with some elite level teams, again, both in Spain and abroad. And the setup is very straightforward. So we don't intend to generate headaches of that or of any nature. So just to walk you through the configuration, right? We simply place the antennas at the same height with the tripods that we provide. They are turned on in a specific order. And then there is a test run, meaning we fit our device on ourselves, on our vest. We walk the perimeter of said venue, engage in certain changes of direction, some running and some walking, and then review the data. And if the data exhibits the quality that we are happy with, as in that we are aware that the system can generate, then we save or we mark said configuration, meaning the position of each antenna around the venue. And from that point onwards, we are ready to analyze and collect data. And if we are to train or use the system in the same indoor venue with our portable solutions, we only need one calibration. So if we are repeat visitors to the same venue, we only need to calibrate once. So great question, and I hope I was able to answer.
A follow-up question on that. How long does it take to set it up from scratch if you've got a new location and you bring it somewhere?
Sure. Again, WIMU is always fully transparent, and where there can be, let's say, an application where it takes maybe close to an hour to configure, meaning perhaps there are complicated structures around the venue, meaning metallic structures that we'd like the antenna to be a little further away from, or for example, actual structures in the middle of the court, think curtains, it might take a little longer. However, again, always being transparent, I myself have been in a venue in Europe where the setup of the antennas, and I mean from placing the antennas around the court, turning them on, doing the test run, it was all done in 25 minutes. So equally, as maybe an hour may sound a little long, it doesn't mean that that is always the case, because what I wanted to share with you that equally, things in a maybe a straightforward venue, fairly open plan, for example, can go very well or very quick, and you can be ready up and running in less than half an hour. And the key is the next time I visit the same venue, I just need to place the antennas where they were before, and that's it.
Cool. Thanks, Peter. Next question. Do you have validation in HENPO? If yes, on what level?
The system itself, handball, if this could be with reference to the use in sport or the ball, for example, WIMU at the moment is validated for rugby and for football, as we have seen. Of course, we are always open and present in additional validation tests. And of course, WIMU is undergoing validation for other applications. At the moment, there is a project with a sensorized ball for a league that we compete in, and that is underway. So at the moment, if the question for handball is the actual sport, at the moment, WIMU is used in handball by FC Barcelona. So they use our system on a daily basis. And but if the question alludes to the actual, for example, for the handball, to track the ball, that is something that we as a company are involved in a different application for a different league at the moment.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Next question, how exactly do you change the player name on the OLED screen on the WIMU pod?
Great. So great question, because the technical side is often the area that maybe generates, for example, the most ideas. So the OLED screen, in this case, serves the following. Not only will it display, let's say, Rick on the screen, or Peter, or any individual that's watching us, you can choose how that name is displayed, meaning first name, last name, for example. And the actual process involves the following. I enter the WIMU cloud. I enter the roster I've created with the player list. I then select the players that I want to assign to the WIMUs. Once that I'm happy with the list, I extract this JSON file. I input it or copy it in a folder, and then that folder is copied to a USB stick, and then the USB stick is connected to the Smart Station. And then the Smart Station will interface with the USB, and what it will do, it will a name will appear saying Cloud Teams. The user will select that, and automatically the name of the roster, first team, under 21s, for example, will appear. The user can select the corresponding roster, and what will happen from that point onwards, the WIMUs will then be reassigned to those players in the roster, but also carry their profile, meaning their maximum values, their S-Vivo frequency for the live tracking. So what this also entails is the following. In S-Vivo, you will see Rick's true data against Rick's true maximums to get those relative values. And when it's time for Peter to use Rick's device later, and we update the roster with a USB stick, and now Rick's WIMU will say Peter, then my real live data will also be related to my maximum values. So once the roster process is complete, the device itself is aware of the maximum values of Peter in order to generate the relative ones, right? And the device will also know, and the software, where to send the data. So there's no cross referencing or crossfire, for example, of data. It will go to the athlete that belongs to said team. And that, for example, in a broader view, is the process. Time-wise, we're always talking a matter of minutes to do that, and it can be done infinitely.
Okay, nice, nice.
Thank you.
The next question, how many portable pods are required for a portable venue setup?
Oh, great question. At the moment, the kit, the portable kit, is there's a fixed quantity, as in the setup for a portable antenna system is 8 antennas, and that is for, let's say, a smaller venue to a larger venue. So 8 antennas, a kit of 8 antennas are provided for application in multiple sport, multiple venues. And if, for example, if we're looking at, or we have a scenario with larger dimensions of the playing pitch or the training ground, then what happens is simply the orientation, as in the setup, the positioning of the antennas changes. That is all. As in they are spread out further amongst themselves. That's all what I'm alluding to. But it's a kit of 8 antennas.
Okay. Next question, can I populate my Tableau templates in real time, or is that only done post-session?
Great question. So depending on the setup that the Tableau templates are using, and what I mean by that, WIMU has the ability to generate live data, as in from Vivo primarily, to an endpoint, to a server. And then from that point, the client can connect and view or interface with that data. We have applications in clubs at the moment. So what they do is during the training session with an antenna system, they are able, so LPS system, right? Sorry, I forgot to mention that. They are able to connect, because a fixed antenna has a server, they are able to connect to the server, as in internally the club itself with all the security measures. And then they are able to actually see the data from Vivo on their screen. So if the individual that posed the question is referring to, let's say, real time in an Vivo scenario, if they are able, with their setup of Tableau, to connect to the WIMU server to extract the data, then perfectly they are able to interface with their Tableau image, their Tableau setup, for example.
Yeah, nice, in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the questions. I've got nothing more.
Super. I want to, once again, on behalf of WIMU, our founders, also the sports science department that I'm members of, I want to thank you, Rick, but also the presenters and everybody in attendance for their time and patience today, because I'm sure there's a very busy schedule. So it's really wonderful to be a part of lifelong learning initiatives and making sure that the broader Movella client base is perhaps aware of the solutions that are out there. And of course, we are always looking forward to collaborating together with yourself and with Xsens and Movella. And we always look forward to speaking to you in the near future. So best regards from sunny Almeria. I hope the sun is coming through the screen a little. And we look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon.
Thanks a lot, Peter. We'll speak soon, and thank you for all your explanation and the really nice presentation. We'll speak soon, and yeah, thank you.